tell us
Okay,
about
hi everybody.
the British
Alex.
market, about how timber company, how they can make money in the United Kingdom.
Okay, let's set this up. Let me share that.
It's loading.
How's it look?
Yes, now we can see
We're good?
it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andy Ferguson, and it's a pleasure to speak at today's conference. And really, I'm sort of blown away. There's been some amazing presentations today by some of the best and bravest tech minds in the forest industry, from young professionals talking about investing in youth, solutions in the forest, and even Oscar's presentation now about digitalization, which kind of blew me away. And that background coming from an industry like Uber is just amazing, that people of this ability are in our industry and helping transform the way forward. So what I want to try and talk to you about today is my own experiences, about how I found my way into the business. So guys, after all that tech, you've got me. So I'm going to try and give you a story of how I ended up doing what I'm doing with marketplaces, and what that journey is like, and what the possibilities are for us as an industry, and how, if we work together, we can bring along change. We're not saying that the current systems are wrong. What we're saying is that there are opportunities going forward for us all. So how can I talk about this to you? Well, I think first of all, I think what we need to do is maybe learn a little bit about me. So my name's Andy Ferguson, and I like to do things differently, to take a different approach. And I've always felt that way about business, and sort of I've always found that, you know, customers expected me to drive change, to deliver their solutions. I discovered that most customers felt this way, and that, you know, the fun of being in business and being a leader in business is being able to deliver people the things that they want. And the timber industry is, you know, such a fantastic industry, you know, renewable, sustainable, great people, great events, great products, global. And today, I think, just showcases that, what a global industry this is. And, you know, for me, it's just an honor to be here and be able to give you my thoughts on how the technologies are going to influence our industry going forward. So I'd like to think that no one's ever satisfied, that everyone wants, you know, to improve every day. It's just a general way. I believe most people go to work to try and do a great job and try and improve their business. And of course, when we're trying to introduce new ideas and new technologies, I realize everyone loves new tools. They love new gadgets. You know, they don't want things that are going to waste their time, as I put in the slide. And for me, I just think there's another way of doing things. So I always think that. And, you know, I know that the industry we're in, a lot of the systems were built in the past, and we have to move forward. We've got to move forward as an industry. It's not to say that what we're doing is wrong, but we need to move forward. And I'm going to, in my sort of quick presentation, I'm going to explain where my frustrations lie and why, when this happens, I feel the need to make a change. So let's move on to my experience. Well, you know, time goes fast, guys. And, you know, I was around when, you know, there were photocopiers and gestetners and all kinds of different tools in the industry. In our offices, people had secretaries. You know, men came to work with briefcases, not backpacks. So I started in Liverpool in the importing industry, moved to London in the merchant industry, and then decided, one of those moments, I knew I wanted to do it better. I wanted to do it differently. So in '86, I started my own business and run, I think, a very nice timber business around London. We were, I think, a quality business. We chose quality products, and I'll come on to how I found those quality products as part of my presentation. In 2014, I sold the business to Grafton, who are, you know, a 2 billion multi building supply chain company. And I found that I then went to work for Grafton as their timber director for 4 years. And again, I found the frustrations of people not being able to find what they wanted. And decided I need to find a solution to that. And in 2018, I set up WoodScanner, which is a marketplace to try and help people find timber, sell timber, buy timber. So before I go into WoodScanner, what's my industry like? What's happening in my industry? So I think change creates opportunity, and listening to the speakers, I think everyone is sort of the mind that change is coming, and it's not coming, it's here. We're in that mode of change. So what I've seen in the UK timber industry, where I've worked a long time, I've served on the board of TRADA, the Timber Research and Development Association, and also on TD UK. So working in governance, I've watched at close hand sawmillers from Sweden, Scandinavia, from Germany, coming into the UK and buying and sort of collaborating with our biggest importers. So they're really getting a foothold in our market. Why are they doing this? They obviously want to protect their brand and grow their business opportunities. So these sawmillers are no longer using the agents and the importer. They've come straight here and they've become the importer. In the last 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, but certainly in the last 5 years, private equity have come to the UK. Now, I'm not a financial whiz kid, but obviously these people see opportunity in our market. So Blackstone Capital, Cairngorm Capital, Rubicon, CVC Capital Partners. I mean, their investment is now over $2.5 billion in our market, which says a lot, and I don't know, but I kind of guess that private equity doesn't have mixed ambitions. I think they're bred to be successful. They don't do failure. So they obviously smell the opportunity, smell change. And when they're in that industry, I'm sure they're going to streamline and they're going to refine our industry. And many of the older guys in the business will have sold out. They'll have filled their bank accounts with some cash and they'll be shaking their heads. But I think the industry now is we're going to have to swim or swim harder. I'm not going to say sink because I don't think that's realistic. People have different ways of doing things, but there's definitely momentum and it's proven, why are they involved? I think the UK timber industry and the global timber industry is an untapped source. It is worth a lot of money. I think I read somewhere it's going to be worth over 900 billion in 2025. And currently in the UK, our industry's worth 13.4 billion. And that's over 50 million pounds a day. That's a lot of wood. That's a lot of movements. So that was a fact, just to sort of confirm that size of the industry. We're importing £4 billion worth of timber every year. Our UK production is about 1.9 billion with UK products, and the economic value of that, as I said, is 13.4 billion. So that's a lot of wood. So we need to find a way of selling that wood. We've got traditional methods, but what do I think? So let me tell you a little bit about WoodScanner, where it came from, and about my ideas of where it can go to. So WoodScanner, we launched in 2019 as a digital marketplace, and just trying to connect the buy-sell community, trying to cast more transparency, give more vision. The platform itself gives secure management to the sellers, so they can log onto my site and list the products that they want buyers to see. We give them the opportunity to unlock a large marketplace because we've got an amazing database segmented so we can deliver the messages where people need them. In terms of cost, everyone has mentioned monetization in our industry. And what do I think on that? It's difficult. Let me tell you, it is difficult to monetize. And we give away a little more information than we charge for. So we need to find a way of dealing with that. So we haven't got the perfect model, but we know that it works. We know it happens. We give people real-time stock dashboards rather than static PDFs they may have been used to. We invite buyers to, list and get push notifications on the products that they're interested in. So when anyone adds stock or changes the price on a product that a buyer is interested in, they'll get an SMS to their phone. So we're building a lot of connectivity for our industry. And for our sellers, we can communicate them, as I said, with that segmented, targeted audience. You know, a very simplistic style slide really for everyone. I don't really like these, but it just, you know, it is trying to get everything in one place. You know, I'm, as you know, I've worked in the industry a long time, and, you know, I ring around for prices, can't get people, all those type of things, where if I've got it online and I can go to it, I suppose that message for you guys is that as an experienced timber proprietor, this is what I would have wanted. This is what I would have wanted my staff to have. The ability to go online and find the various products, solutions for the inquiries or orders they were trying to fulfill. So yeah, you can see those logos say saving money, convert more opportunities. It is massive. And for the sellers, unlocking the marketplace, low-cost market penetration, real-time stock dashboards, and a big thing, it may seem silly, but so many clients don't know what the sellers do. You know, they meet the salesman, and the salesman only tell them what they need to know. So let me try and explain that in a little bit more about my experience there. I grew my business not really based on what people told me, but what I had to find out. You had to go and find things for yourself. So in '88, I went to Canada, and I learned a lot there about the values of communication, of attitude, things which I didn't think existed in the UK. I was sort of a Liverpool boy, and I'd moved to London, and I moved into this very traditional timber industry. I had my bosses were Mr. Colin, Mr. Allen, Mr. Stephen. As I said, very traditional. In Canada, it was relaxed, and people were very, I think, solution driven. I mean, the investment was, you know, off the scale to the companies I worked into. So I learned a lot from these business trips, and I realized I'm lucky to be able to do that. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone can do it. So going out to Sweden, I found easy edge carcassing that was only for Europe, and brought it to the UK. And it was fantastic. We got it treated in Sweden as well, taking out all the cost. I was told it would never catch on. Now it's an industry staple. I didn't like selling wood that was twisted and bent, so I moved towards engineered timber. And in Latvia, in 2005, I found a company who could supply me engineered and finger jointed true studs and true pars to be able to give my clients really good products. You know, in 2008 in Finland, we developed laminated sleepers and posts to save splitting. So we always had I suppose, a bias to doing things differently. We never went, you know, we were always told, oh, no one will pay that. But I always found customers were very, very happy to pay for quality if you could display it to them. So that was a big part. And I think being able to travel, I know one of my fellow Linkywood members, Gustavo, is going to speak to you later, because he represents Brazilian mills who can't possibly get to the UK or to Europe and promote their products, because Gustavo has found a unique way of doing it for them. So, and Michael in America, the same with the American market, a unique way of delivering products. So these marketplaces, as I think Oscar mentioned, are the way forward, but we've got to try and get it right. We haven't got it perfect. So let's just talk a little bit about, you know, why we did this. You know, travel allowed me to find those product options. But now I can bring it to you. So you don't have to make that journey. I can bring the information to you, or WoodScanner can bring the information to you, or Gustavo can bring his information to the UK markets, or Michael can share his with the huge American markets. In part of my business, you've seen I sort of sold my business into Grafton. And as a timber director, I had a large staff of branch managers and branch staff, and they sold multi-products. They sold bricks and blocks and drainage and paint and tools, as you would expect in a mixed merchant anywhere in the world, really, I suppose. And of course, these guys don't have a massive amount of timber knowledge. And again, it was touched on in a lot of the presentations, you know, this thing about knowledge and training. And people can't be experts in everything. So WoodScanner was there to solve that problem for them, to give more visibility when someone took an inquiry. If they couldn't solve it from their own stock or source it from their own stock, they could go onto WoodScanner and find those products. Yes, there was a lack of training, something that hit me really, really very early on was I'd go to events. I'd be invited by my supply chain, and I'd go to conferences, maybe dinners or events, and I'd see all these people, and I didn't know who they were. I knew they were sat with my competitors. I knew they must be important, but I never really got to know them. I got not stuck. I mean, that's not being fair to the guys I really enjoyed being with. But I sort of worked with, I went to an event, it could be 200 people, and 20 would be like my best friends, and another 10 or 15 you would kind of know, and then so on and so forth until people, I suppose, paled into obscurity. But I wanted to know what they did because I could see my competitors were sat on their table, and I could never do that. So trying to build a marketplace gave me the opportunity to try and put people together, begin to try and connect people without it being, I suppose, almost like, and I'll say this, almost like the suppliers own the customers. And I'll relate a little story about that and why I think that. I told you I went to Sweden and we developed the plain carcassing for the UK market. And we absolutely were the first people to do that. And one time I was out there on a visit, and the guy who owned the sawmill wasn't very happy with me. He was, very off. And I asked him why and what the problem was. And he said, we'd been buying from someone else. And I said, yeah, when I was in Sweden last time, I didn't come straight to you. I went and had a look around the port. I saw other products that people were producing. I followed that up, and I found another really good supplier. But he was so annoyed that I'd done that. And I thought, well, I pay these bills. Why do people feel they have ownership of clients? But there is that in our industry. There is a feeling that, he's my client. And I think that's why people don't possibly like getting on with the marketplace. They don't quite like the fact that all customers should be free. It's their money to do what they want. It's a bit personal, that, but, it's how I felt. And of course, out-of-date stock notes, in the old days, they were faxed through. Now they're emailed, but the minute you get them, they're out of date. And as I mentioned in Grafton, we couldn't always converse our inquiries as we wanted to. So, just examples of what's going on. This is in the last few days as I was putting my slides. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold. So someone has come through to me and said, Andy, have a look at this. I need 2 pallets of 25 mil plywood. And again, just a perfect example. You should be able to go on to a marketplace website and find that product. So that's what I personally believe in, and that's what WoodScanner is there to do. Is to allow people to find, compare, and connect, and make life a lot easier for them. Okay, let's just think a little bit about the future, what that means for everybody. We know, that this generation are used. They've known nothing else but online. They've known nothing else but the internet. My generation, sadly, came before that, and I suppose a lot of the industry leaders, maybe of my era and maybe a little bit younger than me, but are they holding the industry back? I don't know, but I'm sure they're doing their job for the right reasons. But there is room, there is an opportunity, and I think convenience is the new loyalty. There's not many things that we want to buy these days where we're not interested in having a little look and comparing. I think companies can leverage the technology to enhance their customer engagement. Certainly, providing better leads to their sales team so they can make their sales teams more effective. Making communication to sellers, more relevant, storing the data of what they buy. And we can talk a little bit about AI. I know it was mentioned in the last presentation as well, but that's going to change things, So all these things, low new inventories, getting the right data, giving the buyers more options, how they want to buy products, I believe is a big part of the future of our industry. It may come after my time, but I believe this is the way it will go. Not in total, people will still do their deals, but as an additional sales channel. So that's where I am. I think it's coming, and I think these big investors in our industry are going to be at the forefront of these things. In fact, we had a very large American company buy a similar website to mine, someone called Timber Base in Germany, very recently. So yeah, it shows you these things are happening. Deciding to change, the impacts of not changing, how do they lie? Now, I'm not saying anyone is ever wrong for not changing, but I remember, so I dug out an article from 1999 when one of the UK's largest retailers, Marks and Spencer, who are a retailer of clothes and food and different things, a huge company, they actually told their market they weren't going to take credit cards. Now, this is a PLC board. It's got non-exec directors, people who are, well trained in what they do, but they can make the most outrageous decisions. And they decided it wasn't suitable for their company. And the next year, their profits halved to 546 million, which kind of means they lost £500 million on that decision. Plus, their sales were plunging at the same time because of their decisions. So not moving forward can be really dangerous, I think, for people. And I know it has to be considered, and I'm not saying you have to make the big leap, but I think I've looked at the industry and the tech and the websites and their ability to engage with people and how they operate with people. And I think, guys out there, we've all got room to improve what we do. Of course, with a product like WoodScanner, it does open the doors. We're gaining a lot of UK data. As I said, we're segmenting that audience, and we offer our international partners the ability to connect, to targeted audiences. So we can work with you again on that very low cost market penetration. We can give you the data. We can share the data. So we're becoming, not just a marketplace, but also, a company that can offer digital solutions to our audience, intelligence to improve output, feeding back things, which mean you produce the right products for our market, which I think is a lot of the problem. I think, in a £900 billion industry worldwide, I'd hate to think what the waste factor is. But certainly when I was a buyer, I was being asked to take things I didn't want in order to buy things I wanted. And I was told this was yield. I was told this is what needed to happen. But you know what? I don't like it. I don't think it works. I want to buy what my customer needs. I'd rather have something engineered rather than having a length I couldn't sell or a length that was too long and going to twist and bow. So I've got a pretty practical handle on the way the wood should be supplied into the industry, right the way through the supply chain. But we're there if anyone needs help for introductions.
And
Something we've spoken about.
Sorry for interrupting. Could you please summarize your presentation, because we are out of schedule, and we should let Gustavo to tell about the Brazilian.
Okay, I'm just going to summarize.
Thank you.
No problem. Sorry for rabbiting on, guys. But so connections that are data-driven, improving your bottom line, reducing your carbon footprint, because we've got lorries going past each other all the time. It's a big part of the reduction in carbon in the UK in the built environment. A big thing for me is improving your work and life balance, because I think people deserve that. We can do that now. We can make life less stressful. People haven't got to sit on motorways for 20-minute meetings. And communicating your brand sensitively, making sure you're at the forefront. Okay, so in conclusion, for our Alex, so sorry for delaying, Alex, but I think the reality is the global timber market is constantly evolving. The introduction of sawmill owners and VCs is there. Business expectations will change with the next generation of always connected staff and buyers. Startup companies are happening now, as I mentioned, timber-based. Tech companies like WoodScanner, we're not brilliant, you can tell. I'm not a techie person, but I'm trying to provide you a solution. So I've built something that's there for you. And when you're ready, and if you want to discuss change management and moving forward, I'm here to help you every step of the way. Alex and the audience, thank you very much for listening to me rabble on. Now you can go and listen to some true industry experts, and they'll tell you all about things.
Thank you, Andy. And you know what I can say. So actually, if you are looking for customers in the United Kingdom, definitely you have to visit woodscanner.com and register your company. So thank you, Andy. And let me introduce the next speaker from Brazil, from the next big thing in the wood industry, Brazilian market of exporters, one of the biggest wood markets in the world. Gustavo,